Yeah. I'll let you hear me. Yeah. Here we go, turn it up, let it start. From block to block, we snatching hearts and jacking marks. And the punk police can't fade me, and maybe we can have peace someday, G. Scream if you feel me. See it clearly, you're too near me. Holler if you hear me. Holler if you hear me.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Bigg Q from Bigg Q's World. I'm here with my brother, my real brother, flesh and blood, JB. What's going on with you, JB?
Yo, what's up?
Listen.
I usually don't show my face around these parts at this time of year, but I think based on the temperature of everything, it's necessary. So let's go.
So, I got a telephone call from you the other night, and you was like, yo, the homies should get together when it's not football season and talk about some real stuff. And I was like, we really don't get a chance to chop it up like that. It's always some sports stuff. And honestly, I thought your idea was great. Reached out to the homie Glass. Shout out to the homie Glass.
Shout out to the homie Glass.
Which eventually this podcast will become a 3-man podcast whenever we get Glass back. Glass will be joining us. So we'll give a big shout out to our homie Glass. But anyway, the idea was to come up with a more serious, non-sports related podcast to talk about the burning topics that we're dealing with in this world. I thought the idea was fantastic. And so I was like, let's do it. Right. So sat around and thought about, what I wanted to call a podcast. We were bouncing the thing back and forth. Came up with Pressure Pointz, man. I like Pressure Pointz. What do you think about that?
I think due to the type of content that, not non-controversial, very opinionated, and definitely could be fact-checked or debated, however you want to do it, but very opinionated subjects. Some stuff that some people don't want to touch because they got handlers and, tied to a paycheck or whatnot, but we're free. So I think the name was appropriate.
So this is going to be episode 1 of the Pressure Pointz Podcast with Bigg Q and JB. I aptly titled this podcast, Here's the Thing. Right? Because we got some stuff to talk about. I thought I put together some pretty good topics this week. We on the 1-year anniversary of the George Floyd murders. Me and you going to dive into that to see where the world is at 1 year after that horrific situation that went down a year ago. We also are dealing with a quote unquote, and I'm going to use those terms loosely, a quote unquote labor/worker shortage. I can't wait to get your thoughts on this. I got some personal things that I want to talk about when it comes to that, because the COVID thing kind of had us shuffling our life around a little bit, and I got some serious opinions about that whole situation, and also we'll talk about the mask mandates being lifted for people who are being fully vaccinated, which has caused this whole mask, no mask, now with the vaccination thing, it's causing some weirdness in this country. And especially with me and you being able to talk about it, because we we looking at it from different lenses, and it's going to be kind of cool to talk about. But we're going to start it off with something lighthearted, right? And I know we're trying to get away from sports, but this ain't really about sports as far as it's more about men and how we treat each other and things like that, right? So I don't know if you were aware, JB, but on Monday, on a live broadcast of the Undisputed show with Shannon and Skip, Shannon Sharp just straight up seemingly called Julio Jones out of the blue and asked him about his situation, his trade situation and that kind of thing, right? Which Julio said live on air, quote unquote, I'm out of there, man. I got there's a lot to unpack with that whole entire thing, JB. But let me get your thoughts on what you think that whole thing was about.
First of all, for the untrained eye and the gullible, have you ever seen that before? Have any? Not even the deeper basketball player don't even do stuff like that.
Right.
You don't because that hurts a lot. That hurts your career. That hurts trust. That hurts loyalty. That hurts your agent. That hurts. I mean, are you a snitch? Are you a loudmouth? Are you oversharing? Are you that type of guy? So no, that whole thing definitely, in my opinion, when I first looked at 2 seconds of him picking up the phone, was definitely orchestrated. So, Julio's pissed, obviously, and he won't out. So, everybody, listen, Shannon Sharpe right now is the godfather of sports.
Yes.
If you really want to talk about something, if you really want a guy that's relatable, just like Kwame's out there right now, he only dropped one name. It's the person that he looked like, he could relate to, looking like somebody he knew growing up. It's Shannon Sharpe. So if I wanted to pull a PR stunt or a move like that, he'd have won him a call. I ain't calling Skip. I ain't calling Stephen A. Hell no. Right. No way.
Yeah,
no way.
So I think we agree on this one.
No way.
I think we agree on it because I feel like I'm sitting there watching it unfold live, right? And I'm thinking to myself, first of all, knowing who Shannon is and the way he moved, there's no way he would have did that and put himself in his career in no type of jeopardy. And secondly, he wouldn't have put his young homie in a situation like that either, right?
Nah.
The only thing I thought was weird was just the way Julio was, because Julio sold it. If it was orchestrated, if it was scripted, Julio sold the hell out of it, right? You know what I mean? So,
of course, man. Come on, man. You know how much credibility Shannon Sharpe will lose by pulling a move like that for seemingly his spot or ratings or he a real one? No way. Right. That was orchestrated by the young lion Julio.
Yes.
And hey, they did it. Only Shannon Sharpe could have got that, made that phone
Absolutely.
Call.
It looked like a major flex, right, from Shannon's part. Yes. It got the conversation going about Julio. So, look, everybody knows Julio already got his mind made up. He said it. I'm out of there, bro. I'm done, right? Pretty much killing a bunch of birds with one stone, letting Atlanta know what time it is, and letting everybody else in the world know what's going on, too, right?
And only one person could pick that phone up and made that happen. Yes. If it was some type of ploy, orchestrated ploy or not, Shannon is going to be the one to do that.
Absolutely. So, but the thing is, the backlash has been heavy. It's been crazy. A lot of execs are coming after Shannon, right? But it's all hinging on one thing, though. It's all hinging on if Julio knew he was on. If he knew what was going on, and of course, like even if he didn't, that rare case that this was just some out of the blue type of stuff. Julio ain't gonna put Shannon on blast like that. He's not gonna do it. So either way, nothing is gonna shake. And again, I think it was a major flex from Mr. Sharpe in front of Skip to let everybody, and everybody who watching know what time and what kind of juice he got. I mean, that's all. That was a flex. That's all it was, right?
That's right. Yeah. That's right. You ain't gonna get no Rachel Nichols or those, none of them other suckers to be able to do that.
No, absolutely
not Kenny, not Shaq, not Chuck, none of them.
Yes,
Shannon, that's the guy.
So your boy Pat McAfee goes on and he reacts. He's reacting to this and he's in shock and dismay. And your boy Ian Rappaport is mad because this happened without him knowing. Like it was a move being made. And and I'm watching these two guys, react to what happened. And all I'm thinking about was, do y'all really not see what's happening here? Like these two guys have just finessed y'all, right?
Yeah.
Do y'all not even see this?
Yeah.
Like what's going on?
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
And so, they and I hate to keep mentioning this, but it's been a very good prime example this past week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe probably a month. I'm just behind on it. I just saw the stuff that was a little bit more inflammatory or more important to me. Just the Kwame Brown and the situation with Jack or Stacks, whatever you call him, and the Becky with the blonde hair, he would call him.
Yeah.
But it's just, these people are together. They want to break stories together, share information together, and be the leader in that or monopolize that part of breaking news.
Right.
Or just, they all going to share the same opinion. And Kwame broke that. Julio broke that.
Yeah.
And Shannon, he's becoming pretty much a giant in this thing. And rightfully so, because in pro sports, it's a high 80-90%. Predominantly black sports,
absolutely,
or led by predominantly black players.
And I think
it's only right.
The Ian Rappaports and what's the other guy who works for ESPN, who's a know-it-all, Schefter. These guys, I think they are a little bit perturbed because people like Deion Sanders and now Shannon Sharpe and a couple of other ones. What was the guy, playmaker 88? I can't think of his name. Dallas Cowboys guy.
Michael Irvin.
See, all these dudes got all these connections, and and Mike, and Tomlinson. They got so much inside connection to these young players that they get all the information before your Rappaports and Schefters get it, and that's what their career is based on. If they can't get the news
before, know what though,
Q? Yeah,
only right, because why would I trust a guy that just talked about the game?
Absolutely.
We talking about Hall of Famers. You know what I'm saying? That means that you played for a while and you was really good at what you did.
Right. Yeah.
So with all the pressures and the in and outs and the pitfalls and traps outside, on the court, off the court, on the field, off the field, you end up being a Hall of Famer and play for a while. That means you overcame that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I want to talk to you. I want to have your number in my phone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to wrap it up, I think Shannon kind of gave it away at the end because he even said, I thank you for calling me back, even though he didn't, he the one who put the call in to Julio. Right. That let me know that they talked about this beforehand. You know what I mean? Right. So, like I said, Julio sold it. It worked like a charm. It let Shannon flex on his bosses, and it let Julio now can plot his own course, right? He can do whatever he wants, pretty much whatever he fels like doing right now. So I think it was pretty cool.
And to my knowledge, and to what it looked like, unless Skip is he really dead inside, but he didn't have a clue either.
He didn't. He had no idea. And that's the point to me I think makes it even richer, right? Is that Shannon was in the middle of all his flexing or whatever. He on the phone with Julio Jones, the number one free agent on the planet right now. And Skip Bayless is trying to get Julio to go to Dallas. And he's straight up saying, "Hey, look, if you want to win anything, don't go to Dallas."
Right.
Skip had no idea what was happening. He had no clue.
He got
I thought it was dope.
That put Shannon Sharp. But he goes up, ploy or not, nobody else can do that.
It puts him at a different level. It really did. It was a move that I thought was great. So especially in that competition between like the Stephen A's and the all the other little black guys who are trying to make a name. And I mean, you don't want to be that one outspoken black dude in media, and when it's room for everybody. But I understand how deep that competition goes, and you got to pull moves like that in order to separate yourself. I mean, that's how it's gonna have to be. Maybe Stephen A can pull something like that with a basketball player, maybe.
They've done too much, in my opinion. Q, except for Stuart Scott, give him some credit.
Yeah.
But because he never tore down guys.
Yeah.
But there's been too many of the ones that what's the Whitlock? You got Whitlock. You got Stephen A. They will be so quick to have all these pronouns and adjectives and all these things to say about a black athlete when they do bad or they're not developing to who we thought they was.
Right.
And if you got guys like I won't get into names, but white players and players that's non-black that don't really do nothing but be average.
Right.
And you don't hear words.
Nope, you're absolutely right.
People notice that stuff, man.
Oh yeah, I definitely believe so. And again, if Julio and Shannon somewhere giggling and laughing about this whole entire thing, my hat is off to him. It was a power move. It was nice. You know what I mean? And they accomplished what they set out to do, and I think it's cool. And why everybody trying to threaten Shannon and his job and whatnot. That's why Shannon ain't responding. That's why you ain't seen him say nothing. I was watching the show today just thinking that maybe he was going to say something about because of everything that happened. He ain't said a word since Monday. He ain't said nothing. You know what I mean?
Care.
So, he don't seem to care. So it's cool.
Care.
You know what I mean?
Don't need to care.
Right. So, you had that. And I think that would be a nice way to do it.
But I think about this too, Q. Look at who all the people that's upset about that. You don't got to name names, but just think about it.
I know
who all the people that is.
I know exactly who was upset. But if you want to name some names, you got some bosses at Fox, right? You got some people down in Atlanta, namely Arthur Blank and some other people down there. And some other people in Dallas, maybe. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's some people, and they kind of
everybody who's mad can't benefit.
Right. So absolutely, right. So I kind of figured that's a nice way to set the tone of what this show going to be about, man. And I like that story. I thought it was funny. I actually think it was pretty hilarious the way that thing went down. Now, to kind of make things a little bit more somber, a little bit more serious. like I talked about at the beginning of the show, we sitting here at the 1 year mark after this whole George Floyd situation happened last summer.
Right.
And last summer was rough. It was, I was actually me and my wife Brenda was talking about this the other day. I was actually so nervous last summer that I thought something crazy was getting ready. The world was like, this country in particular was like almost like a powder keg, right? But then JB, something strange happened, right? Some crazy happened after the fact. So then this whole Black Lives Matter thing, and no matter how people spin it, because the whole Black Lives Matter thing is so it's all over the place, right? But things did change a little bit, and I don't know if that was for the better or for the worse. People did treat people differently. I don't know if it's because they were scared, or they didn't want to be canceled, or whatever the case may be. But things did change a little bit. What you think about that?
That's a slippery slope. But overall, for the decent people, for people that was, that's just got empathy. I saw overwhelming response, human-like to that situation. Then on the other hand, you got people that just hell-bent on being evil, and they just don't like the attention elsewhere. They got little dick energy. That anything that's got to do without not outside of their cause, they salty and they want to undermine and ostracize and blame and project. I saw that too. I saw the worst of them.
Yeah.
Some of them was in high places, and that's a shame.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I just, the part that bothered me the most, I want to say is the because, I don't want to discount the allies because there are some genuine people who are not black, who genuinely empathize for the cause, right? But there's ones who kind of ride that same wave who are not as genuine, right? And it's hard to tell them apart sometimes, I don't know. It's weird. So, how you got people who do extra stuff. There's extra, like Activision, the video game company or whatever, putting the screens in the Call of Duty games and weird stuff like that. Like, is it necessary? And does it really help? The NFL, right? I don't know if you remember the kickoff for the season with the whole singing of the African American Black Lives Matter song or whatever the case it was.
Right.
I don't know if it was 100% genuine and on point. I don't know if I felt it really in here. You know what I mean? I don't know. What you think?
Well, you got to give them kind of people who was completely disconnected to the black cause or the black being black in this country. Just some people are completely disconnected. It took something. You have to remember. It took something like this for some people to open their eyes.
Yeah.
And then realize that it took that for them to realize something's wrong. Okay, so you got those people trying to make it right, and they have no idea that something was wrong.
Right.
So of course they can't. You know what I'm saying? They doing what they could. So I don't like to use the word pass because that's too strong.
Yeah.
The situation. I give them a nod for effort. At least you trying versus what you used to be. You didn't even think that it was even. You were so disconnected. You didn't think that it was. You were more protecting yourself against the narrative and the stereotype that the media made for black folks. Yes. So you were scared of it. Your imagination went with that. So for that to even just to remotely just pivot a tiny bit, okay, not a pass, but a nod for effort.
I don't know. It was so weird because there was I would say certain things like I would notice like these extra things that people were doing to kind of show that they cared or whatever, and I would be like, well, you really don't, that's not. You really don't have to do all of that. And then I would get backlash because they said, well, what do you want, bro? You want us to not care or you want us to care? What do you want from me? And I'm like, I don't want to put that kind of pressure on nobody. You know what I mean? So it's weird. It was a weird place to be.
I think the book needs to be read again on how to be a human. Just be a human. Yeah. Matter of fact, you didn't even got to be a good human. Just mind your damn business. Absolutely. You can do that. You see, for me, and again, this is just my opinion. This is just how I do things. You can do whatever the hell you want. Obviously, people are doing so. Oh yeah. Right or wrong or indifferent. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, if you see something going on that's wrong, and if you're a decent human being, you do something about it. You don't have to go jump in there and be referee or, be some type of superhero. Pick up the phone, record it, speak out on it. I mean, if you see something that's wrong, but to completely just say, if it ain't affecting me, I ain't, then you part of the problem. Yeah. But when you say stuff like that, here's the thing. Minus all that, because I'm tired of explaining. We've been explaining it for a whole summer.
Yes,
about what does Black Lives Matter mean? All this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I'll do instead. I'll say this. If there's something that is going on with Black people that you don't never want ever happen to you or your family, then you need to think about it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
You need to think about that. You need to think about that, because the fact that you think that it never will don't give you the reality of walking around like it don't exist.
I feel you. I 100% agree. And again, we sit here a year later reflecting on it, and I'm just thinking about it, and I'm just like, yeah, maybe I was expecting too much. I really don't know what I was expecting, to be honest with you, right? I don't know. It's just like, I see people showing me empathy, but then at the same time calling them out, saying that maybe it's fake, it's not real. Then they get upset about that. And then I'm like, well, why don't you just, like you said, just treat everybody like you would treat your sister, right?
Just be. Just be. Don't when you, I mean, this is the shit that we need for non-Black people to do. Black people too, okay? All people. If you're in the hood, and you see somebody that don't look like somebody from the hood, don't look at them like, what the hell you doing here?
Right.
Let me start there so that makes sense, because that's really all we got.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And for white folks, I mean, if you the branch executive, and if a man come in there and just because he don't look like you, don't mean he incompetent.
Right. Absolutely.
He only showed up because he know he got to be twice as good as the person you thinking about, which is probably your nephew or your brother or your in-law.
You
understand what I'm saying? Yeah. That's the kind of shit that we talking about. You ain't got to do nothing but be normal.
That's it.
And do the right thing. What your paperwork suggests that you do.
Absolutely.
That's it. You ain't got to do all. You got to send no flowers, show up with no boxes of food, no toy drives, no bikes.
Right.
None of that shit.
Yeah.
That's awesome gesture, but that don't affect no change.
It really does not.
It only make you sleep at night.
And I think that's where my problem lies with it. It's an awesome gesture, but gestures don't do nothing for me, right?
Nah.
So, that's I think that's where it was for me. I was like, yeah, I see you doing that, but dude, like, is that really going to keep, I'm going to tell you, like, there was a situation a couple months ago where I was at work, where I was leaving home from work, going to work that morning, and I noticed my car told me one of my headlights was out. It was like, my car was like, well, your headlight is out, blah, 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 you need to change it. So I'm like, oh man, like, I'm thinking about this, and it's a huge deal to me, because all I'm thinking about is, okay, I'm going to go to work, but I need to get home before it gets dark because I don't want to get pulled over, right? So I'm explaining this to one of my white colleagues, right? And they're like, oh, bro, what are you talking about? Dude, the Gastonia police are so terrible. They, he was running down the Gastonia police saying how they were incompetent or whatever, right? I could care less about that. That wasn't my concern, right? My concern was I wanted to make it home to my wife, right? They didn't get it. They didn't understand. Like, to them, my problem was a headlight. It wasn't getting killed on the way home from work. You know what I mean? Like, the disconnect is still there. A year later.
So I think that's the main problem. Like, I was reading something over the summer, cognitive dissonance, stuff like that, just conscious bias, unconscious bias. That stuff is in good. Now, granted, the media does a lot. The Black people, we've done a lot to ourselves. We give them the bullets to shoot that media gun.
Absolutely.
Like, we out on the street. I guess I get it. We're trying to survive. Criminals come in every color of the spectrum.
They do.
Don't matter. But the news report predominantly more or less on what, like, shit they go on every day. A fight will go on every day, no matter what color it is, but they get put on the news.
Yeah.
So the narrative has been written. So when you see Black people in our current condition just trying to survive, and of course there's gonna be drugs. You got everybody in despair in one spot, which is called the hood. Of course, you pissed off.
You know
what I'm saying? And the person that they worried about lived next door.
Yeah.
So what am I supposed to do about the guy you got 90 guns, 100 guns for?
Right.
You got dogs and tear gas and fucking SWAT teams for. Right. And I live next door to that guy because I'm Black and I'm in the hood. I'm supposed to get, like this Tupac said this, I'm supposed to get along with him because I'm Black.
Right.
No, I'm scared of him too. So I don't get it. And that's what cognitive dissonance does. That's what conscious bias does.
Yes.
Oh, you black. Oh, something happened. I remember coworkers asking me, something happened in the town. Did you know that guy? What makes you think I knew that guy?
Right.
Did you know that guy?
Right. Did you know
Jeffrey Dahmer? You know him?
Right. You know,
I mean, come on.
It's ridiculous. It really is. Right. But you know, I was telling somebody one day, like you would never know. Like I understand you can do your research and you can listen to the stories, but you really would never know. You know, you can't possibly know. You know what I mean? Like you can't. It just, you know. But until we get past that, it's like, well, you know, life goes on. We continue to walk on the other side of the road, or you know, me and old girls in the grocery store. And, you know, and it's super nice. Let me get out of get my card out of, you know, it's weird stuff, dude. It's crazy to me. Like, I don't want to be treated like everybody walking on eggshells around me. I don't like that.
Right.
You know?
So this is the part that bothers me, because I don't try to conform to that stuff. You know, I'm mindful not to conform to that stuff.
Right.
You know, like, you know, they, you know, like some people, you know, I had to put certain demographic on this. You do what you need to do when I make my statement. You do what you will with it. But I'll say this. So to walk and say, excuse me, and, you know, to almost fold, to let certain people, you know, feel comfortable. Why am I going out of my way to make you feel comfortable?
Yeah.
Because you have this imaginative thing that every black man is dangerous. That is not my job. If you scared, then you probably need to face that fear. You need to do something about that fear. You need to talk to your senior, to go see somebody.
Yeah.
I think that to overcome any fear, you go to the source of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You go and see. So it's not my place. And so I had a friend of mine tell me that you causing more friction in that sense than anything. So I'm supposed to walk around with blinking lights saying that you should come talk to me.
Right.
I'm harmless.
Right. You know what I mean?
And when in turn, in the utmost realist reality of it all, the person that's scared of me is the evil one. That's the one that's evil. You thinking, you already got bad thoughts from you when you open your eyes in the morning. You already got this preconceived notion. You dangerous, not me.
Yeah.
My notion is to come home to my wife and my child.
That's it.
My notion is to go focus, and whatever I'm driven and I'm focused on, I'm not worrying about a color of a person that's making me lock my doors and go to the other side of the road or take the long way home or have 95 or 100 guns.
Right.
What the?
You know what I mean? Right?
What is going on? What is going on?
What's funny about the guns, though, it's like, you know, I work in a racially charged place. And I deal with it every day, and it's crazy. But, you know, to me, I try to find humor in it. And so one of the guys was like, something had happened a few months ago where the shooter or something, whatever. And I'm like, that's the problem with the guns or whatever. He's like, you know, my rights, and you know, take my gun. I'm like, bro, you ain't even got no guns. Like, what are you making you barking all this, you making all this fuss. You ready to go to war, and you don't even have a gun. Like, what are you talking about, bro? You just making noise to make noise.
To that fella's point, whether he pro 2A or not, I wasn't a 2A guy. I know we off topic a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't a 2A guy at first. I'm pretty adamant about, you know, Second Amendment rights. Yeah. Because I think, but not out of fear. I think most of these guys that swear to God they Second Amendment or constitutionalists, they can't tell you how many amendments it is. Right. They can't tell you. You ain't living and dying by all the amendments if you walking around here just talking about, you know, you wearing the 2A t-shirts and you owning firearms. That's not even a fraction of what the Constitution is about. So them type of people right there, they just, we call them, you know, peacocks. They just regurgitate Fox News. So them type of people.
Hey, listen, you know, but to
have the right to bear arms and protect yourself and your family, that is a right. That is something that you know, it's a birthright. Yeah. Sometimes, for a long time, it wasn't black folks' birthrights. Right. You know, a black man with a gun, that's already bad enough. You black. Right. You put a gun in your hand.
That's right.
Why put the great equalizer in your hand? But anyhow, you know, start preaching to you. I know you got a few other things.
No, it's just, you know, that now that we're thinking about it, right? You know, when we open a dialogue about it, again, it's been a year, and I know a year is a short amount of time. A year is not I mean, we saw a lot of statues come down and a lot of spray painting in the street, you know, it's all beautiful or whatever. I just don't know if those things were they enough to kind of like get the ball rolling? I don't know. I really don't know how to feel like a part of me is saying you should chill and you should be happy that people are open to talk about it or open to do something. They drawing in the street or whatever. It don't mean nothing, but it's letting me know that they at least thinking about it, right?
Let me ask you something, Q. Yeah. Let me ask you something. So you feel like all the Carolina Panthers stuff in your closet is yours. You love it. You're proud of it. Damn it. It's all about them, right? Maybe not so much lately because we've been having to deal with real life more so. It hadn't been an escape for about a year and a half. But not a real one anyway, But anyway, so all that stuff is yours. And the moment somebody come and tell you, you got to get rid of that. It ain't even about, let me ask, is it about getting rid of your items or is it about the fact the reason they want you to get rid of your items?
It's a reason.
You know what I'm saying?
It's the reason.
Is it about losing something or is it about knowing,
It ain't about losing.
And for a fact that those Carolina Panthers make the Atlanta Falcons feel some type of way.
Yeah. No, it ain't really about.
But you got to get rid of that.
Yeah, it ain't.
Now, where are you with that? How do you feel about it?
Oh no, I feel like if you come to me and it makes some logical sense and it's something that's gonna for the betterment of society and the world, I have no problem with it. But on some silliness, on some like people say about the guns or whatever, right? Like you taking the guns, and again, like I said, I don't have a huge problem with that. I'm not a gun owner, right? And one of the main reasons why I'm not is not because I feel some type of political way. I just feel like, I don't have the emotional capability to be able to serve a purpose. Cause I feel like the minute I feel like I'm threatened, I think I'm letting go on somebody. And I don't know if that's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? So
I'm glad you don't have one. So
see, there you go. Right. A lot of people better be glad I don't. You know what I mean? So, but that's me, right? That's the same thing. Or if somebody told me to get rid of my Panther stuff on some emotional stuff, right? I completely get it. I understand. Right. Yeah, I get it. Now I'm not one of the ones who say, well, this many murders happen and this stuff is going down and, kid, like it was recently the story about the kid got killed in the road rage incident or whatever, got shot through the back. It's crazy stuff, right? I'm just saying, it's not like I don't notice that these things are happening. And do I believe that the world would be a better place if these weapons didn't exist? No, you're talking about opening the door to chaos. You're talking about opening the door to anarchy, right?
Right.
So, I mean, you can't have it one way and the other way at the same time. Like, again, I'm not a gun owner, but I don't have a problem with people who do have guns. What I do have a problem with, though, is people who make a thing about something that really don't need to make a thing about. Again, old boy talking about his guns and his rights and all this, and he making a big stink about it, waving flags and going on, but you don't own no guns. I got a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? I have an issue with that.
And I'm definitely not playing devil's advocate. Not on this show. I know I'm bad about that on live, but nah. But in a sense, I understand. Maybe he's not a gun owner, but it's the fact that your rights are being pretty much being encroached or eroded. Or is kind of eroding away. Once one thing happens, the next thing happens. So I think
so let me throw it back to you then.
But I don't get it. I see your point because they're not staunchy on everything else. What about the 13th Amendment? You're not that adamant about that one. They didn't even ratify that amendment. Probably have. I hadn't checked, but I'm just saying, what about that amendment? I don't see all the people standing up, hooping and hollering, and got flags and a slogan. That none of that stuff exists. That's why I think. It's a vehicle, just like, you mentioned BLM it started out as a good thing and then it became a vehicle for a whole bunch of other stuff, even hate and evil.
Absolutely. Yes.
So I think it's a vehicle. I think it's something for everybody to latch onto, just like, make America great and America first. There was all catchphrases for white folks.
Yeah. I don't know. It's something for people to stand up and again, my problem is this. My problem is people making a thing out of something that they shouldn't make a thing out of. The whole mask mandate, like why gotta be I just don't understand why does it have to be a thing. Like, okay, you do your thing and I'm gonna do my thing and let's just be cool with it, right? But why do I have to stand on top of a car and be like, yo, this is who I am. You need to respect that. Like,
you know what? Something cute. This is something I found like really interesting the past 3 years, honestly. I'm not interested in making politicians famous, bro. There's nothing I can do about you except for every 4 years and every 2 years.
Right.
So everything you're doing between, there's nothing nobody could do. Whether there's nothing. Love it or hate, there's nothing about it you could do until it's time to do something.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not interested. Those people, they prove to be a whole lot more insignificant than we think. Their rhetoric is what make them relevant.
Oh, absolutely.
Depends on what side of it you on.
Oh, yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, at the very end of the day, it absolutely means nothing.
Right.
But just like the rooting for your favorite football team, absolutely, you don't get nothing at the end of that game.
You really don't, you know?
You don't get shit at the end of that game.
You don't get
and
nothing.
the next game, they win a championship, you get double nothing because you probably spent more to watch the Super Bowl.
Right. You know,
or a championship,
you know what I'm
whatever
saying?
that may be. So it's just point out. I stopped being one of those people a long time ago.
Yeah.
I'm happy that this is something that I've been following.
Yeah.
And I know a little bit about them, than the average Joe because I'm learning about it. But at the end of the day, I still understand it don't matter what happened. Whether you lose or win, it don't affect me.
And that's
I don't get shit for it.
Right, and that's the reason why I really don't. I'm not going to be one of the ones like running around with flags on my truck. Or none of that. That's just not who I am. You know what I mean? And most of the time, especially when I'm in a public forum and people are discussing things, I usually kind of keep my opinions kind of to myself. Now, I'm on a podcast right now, and this is what podcasting is about. I'm going to give people my opinions, right? But you're going to have to download the podcast in order to get them opinions. It ain't like they're going to just be floating out there. You know what I mean? So
I want to do this real quick because, do we just voicing our opinions?
Yeah.
And for the people who, would take stuff out of context or do what you will with it. I really gave that right. You do what you will with it. We're going to get labeled something. We're going to get put in the box. We have to. That's the American way. We have to be put somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get labeled as some idiots and we're going to get called all kinds of things. But I want to say this real fast, man. You can first, you got your own mind and you free. You got your own free will, this freedom that you speak on. In this country that people fought and died for, you can easily turn this shit off and go do what you want to do.
Absolutely.
Go somewhere else. You ain't even got to leave a comment, nothing. You can just turn this shit off and walk away.
Absolutely.
All right?
Yes.
Now, number two, what you could do is you could join in. I for one, I'm not speaking facts, I'm not, this is just how I feel about it.
Absolutely.
That's it. I'm just talking to my bro.
Yeah.
Now, I'm only giving a disclaimer once. We're going to do this show whether you like it or not. But I'm only giving a disclaimer one time and one time only. I'm not dealing with none of the people who want to give this lengthy-ass comment about when and how and where. Right. It don't matter, man. It don't matter.
Yes.
Go somewhere else with that because I'm not the person. Now, if you say something smart enough, if you walk in here blind or naked, as the Christians would say, that with no kinds of distances, no conscious bias or unbiases, then we can talk. But if you just want to wave a flag for one side or the other, no.
Yes.
I'm not entertaining that. Q, you more than welcome.
No, listen, I'm all about dialogue, but it got to make sense, okay? It can't just be on some stupid stuff. So to wrap up this part of the conversation, right? Let me ask you again, because I already told you how I felt about it. I felt like after 1 year, I'm still not in a place where I feel like I'm seeing the right kind of progress. I think I see some progress. I'm not going to lie and say, but the progress that I'm seeing is not satisfying. I'm going to say it that way, right? It's not, right. And and then if somebody asks me, well, what does it take to satisfy? I need some time to figure that one out, right? But I just think for what we've seen over the past year, there's been a lot of gesturing and a lot of posturing and a lot of people moving around in safe spaces. That's what it looked like to me, right? What was your thoughts on it? What you think?
Well, I think it's more or less people want to draw this really bright neon divisive line. Like I consider myself a hybrid. There's some things that I believe in. There's some things that I'm not touching. There's some things that for my kind to entertain, I get looked at as crazy.
Right.
There's some things that that I think that some people that don't look like me do. It's absolutely insane. And that definitely puts me in a box. But wholly, because it's just me living, I'm living my life. I know that, I got the wherewithal and the critical thinking to look at things for what it is, not just for how it sounds or what it look like or how I'm going to look rolling with this group of people.
Right.
Or I'm associating with this group, or I can speak to this group's points that's going to make me accepted. No way.
No way. I have to agree. I think this country got a long way to go. I think we, with the COVID-19 global pandemic hitting around the same time, we had this weird presidential run. It kind of set the country back, in my opinion. This is my own personal opinion. I think this country's been set back about 6 or 7 years. I think it's going to take
more than that, Q. But go ahead.
I'm being generous, right? But it's going to take it's going to take a while to get the needle where it moves just a little bit, where you can actually see some real ground being covered and some real change. But I think, like I said, I've seen something. I just don't know if I'm completely satisfied with it. Right? Okay. So on the next topic, right? This one, I don't know how it affects you, JB, but this affected me a little bit. It maybe kind of got you toward the end. So this whole COVID-19 thing has been mishandled from the get-go. Okay. This country dropped the ball so badly with this COVID-19 thing, especially when it came to the employment part and the labor and keeping people safe at the same time, trying to keep people working, right? And taking care of their families and whatnot. Right. Okay. Before I even get into it, I'm going to break it down. So for right now, there are pundits, there are people saying, it's a bunch of different camps, right? There are people who are saying that folks just don't want to go back to work because they would rather stay at home and collect an unemployment check, right? And that's their statement. There's nothing else with it. There's no part that came before it, and there's no part that comes after it. That is their statement, right? Okay. Right. So you got those people. Then you got people like me, right? And I'm going to tell you my story, okay? March of last year, COVID hits, right? Me and my family just came back off an awesome international trip to England. Life was great, right? Come back home, start the new year, COVID hits. I get sent home. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to be at home for 90 days at the most, right? Is that what we're thinking? Okay, maybe 3 months, maybe 6, maybe. I was at home for 7 months, right? And then the reason why I went so long is because not only did I get sent home by my company, the company eventually furloughed us and then eventually let us go because they couldn't bring us back, right? So, in a sense, I lost my job.
So you got the trifecta of how COVID been doing. You got it
absolutely. Felt it personally, right? So, yeah, the government stepped in and they, I was able to, and I'm going to say this like this because I was fortunate, right? I think I was fortunate that I was able to still take care of my family. We didn't really experience any kind of weirdness, nothing got repossessed, nothing got shut off. Like life pretty much went as normal for us. But I was lucky because of the way I navigated it, right? I knew how to take whatever the government was giving me, along with me trying to figure out what I want to do with my career that it's in the balance and I have no idea what's getting ready to happen, right? Eventually, they start calling us back during the summer. And this is where it gets interesting. This is the part that I want a lot of people who feel like people are lazy to understand. When they called us back, they wanted us to come back for, I ain't gonna tell people how much money I made, but I was making a pretty good salary with my company before COVID. But the same company wanted to bring me back for about I want to say somewhere around a 40% pay cut, no benefits.
Significant.
Part-time. This is what they wanted me to come back to while I've been 7 months on unemployment, right? No, I was like, hell, I'm not going back to work. And I didn't. I stayed at home until I was absolutely, positively had no other choice but to go back to work, right? And then that's when I went back to work in December, right? So again, I wasn't sitting at home just like wanting to be sitting at home. I wanted to go back to work. In fact, I was wishing that my job hadn't got eliminated in the first place, right?
Right.
But but then somebody gonna tell me, oh, y'all lazy. Y'all don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, I take that personally, bro. I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, I actually, I worked right through it. We never stopped. Everything went on like normal. Mm-hmm. Of course, I don't work with the public like you do, but we had the protocols we could put in place. They put some things in place, but it still was it was up to you. It was natural selection type of, you got to have that because you can do what you need to do while you at work, and then once you're at home, because I mean, COVID don't start just because there's a lot of people in one place at work. It don't work that way. So what you doing when you're not at work and you bring it to work? Anyway, number one, I even though I'm on the other side of this whole thing, I still feel some type of way about calling hardworking people lazy because number one, how do you qualify for unemployment? You just can't you had to have a job. Unemployment.
Right. You had to have a job.
Okay. You had to have a job. For all these people that claim, I'm paying, here's my tax dollars. No, the hell is not.
Right. Yes. Right.
So that tells me that you severely disconnected from anything. You never experienced that.
Right.
Unfortunately, some people have. A lot of people who had never experienced that. I hope nobody experienced having to make an unemployment claim, but it happens to black folks more than it should.
Yeah.
So the only way to qualify for unemployment, you had to have worked somewhere. You had to have to work somewhere before. Right. It ain't your tax dollars paying nothing.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you got educated on that. Not you. I'm sorry. I'm not talking to know anyone. But I'm sure those people got educated on that last year about how it works.
I'm pretty sure.
Tune probably won't change because those people probably thought that they weren't going to ever mention or admit that they was out unemployment.
Yeah. And
getting the plus up. Anyway, number 3, Q, I'll tell you this. Last year was a guessing game for a lot of people, and especially because of the leadership at the time.
Yeah.
Nobody had a clue, for better or for worse. It could be local leadership. Nobody had a clue.
Yeah.
Everybody was just trying to say the right thing.
The country did a terrible job with that.
It was basically up to you.
Yes.
It was basically up to you about how you wanted to get through it. And if staying at home was a better choice than risking, some people's insurance and situation was different. Some people's jobs they had for years knew the insurance was crappy, and there was no way that these jobs start protecting themselves for COVID-19 claims because they know there was so much to it than just an unemployment check. It's about survival. And even though you think certain people who want unemployment don't matter and they should die since they don't want to work, they work somewhere, and their lives was more important than going to be a guinea pig for somebody else's to make a dollar.
Absolutely.
So even though I worked all the way through it, the people who was deciding not to risk it, I understood it.
Yeah, and listen, here's the thing: the whole thing when they first started calling us back. And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Let's go, right? And in the back of my mind, my wife is like, are you sure? You got to go out, and you got to, you always one-on-one with everybody. You got to be in the middle of people. And I thought about it, but I'm thinking, listen, I'm thinking everything is going to be the way it was before. But just like, somebody told me the other day when I was at work, they went to lunch and they came back complaining that they wouldn't drive through for 45 minutes because the people at the Steak and Shake didn't have enough people working. And they had signs talking about a labor shortage or whatever. So you're trying to tell me that you pissed and now you want to call people lazy and stuff because you can't get your burger in a timely fashion when them people who were working there were getting paid crappy money anyway. Now they're gonna pay them less to come back, and they get unemployment. Right? Who gonna do that? Who does that?
Those people wouldn't do it, but those are the same people that, in my opinion, are the problem.
Right.
Those people are there. Your food's wrong. They got a problem.
Yeah.
They're in the drive-thru too long. They got a problem. In my opinion, Q, and I've been like this my whole life. It's not about the person that I go buy an expensive car from or expensive clothes from. I'm not that guy, number one, but it ain't the person that I need to be treated with respect. It's that person that's making $7.25 that's handling something I'm about to put in my body.
Absolutely.
I don't think certain people understand that.
You're right.
How you going to be mean to somebody that's getting ready to give you something that you about to ingest?
Absolutely.
For number one. Number two, I'm with you on this whole thing. Why would they go back?
Why?
It's something for America to think about. It's something for the corporate America especially to think about. You was getting away with sweatshop violation of labor law. People did what they were doing what they had to do. If they had a choice, do they want this job? You would have the same problem.
Absolutely.
Minus COVID, minus unemployment.
Yes.
If they had a choice, whether or not I'm going to do that, which they do, but life will throw you some lemons sometimes.
Absolutely.
You got to do what you need to do. But I'm saying, if somebody say, hey, Jonathan, could you come work at this car wash making $4 more? You want to stand here making $4 less? I guarantee you, with that choice, they're out of there.
Absolutely.
And you're going to have the same problem.
It ain't
so
nothing
the
to think about.
So they went through, these people, I've heard everything. You're going to go through all this. You're going to try to politicize people being, politicize unemployment in the middle of a global crisis. And people all people trying to do is just survive.
That is it, bro. That is it.
All people trying to do is survive.
That's it.
And I just don't understand it, man. You doing all this for your comfort, for your old way of life, your first world problems.
Yes.
And you really torn with somebody's livelihood and their children. So if a person goes back to work just to get rid of the lazy title or just to please these pampered people, right? Yeah. They go back, not vaccinated or vaccinated, still catch COVID, go home, give it to grandma because I'm doing what I have to do. I don't have enough money.
You trying to take care of grandma, but you really killing grandma.
I'm here, and everybody in the house gets sick and die. Right. Then what? Then it don't matter. You're just a statistic. Yeah. We're waiting on the next guy to come make my frappuccino.
That's it.
Don't matter what.
That's all I care about at the end of the day, right? This is the same country that, and I laugh about this part because I think it's funny. Because, you know, this is the same country that shipped out all the jobs overseas, right? Because they didn't want to pay nobody. So now when this pandemic hit and you can't use them people that you sent them jobs to overseas no more, you got to pay people at home. But these people, you know, they already not getting paid now. If you could have paid them the same amount that you paid the people in Korea, you would have did the same thing, right? But that's the problem. You outsourced everything. So there's no jobs here. Number one, there's no jobs here. And then they're trying to tell me that people don't want to come back to work, but you're not offering them anything. My problem, my solution to this is easy. You know, and I think it's funny. Like, you're going to have to, McDonald's workers going to have to get paid $18 an hour. You're going to have to raise the wage, man. You're going to have to.
And rightfully. You know Why would I want somebody angry making my food?
Right.
I don't want somebody angry making my food.
Absolutely.
You don't want your surgeon angry. You don't want your plastic surgeon to be pissed off.
Right.
You don't want them to be stressed out. You don't want them to not want to be there. You're going to want them to be there. You're going to be focused. You don't want the airplane pilot to be pissed.
Right. And Lord forbid our CEOs get sick.
Police when you call them to be mad about something. Right. I'm not calling them if they're happy. You see what I'm saying?
But you want to pay the Chipotle dude, you know, $6.50. Right. Come on, man. That is ridiculous. That makes no sense.
Know, man. I feel like they want to do it. That tells me everything about the corporate America, right. Though. These businesses, they want to lay pockets laced. If unemployment was a problem, if it was about the people, this would be a non-issue.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Only reason
you ain't solved one problem, but you're trying to solve this.
Right. And
the reason why you have this problem because you didn't solve the first damn problem.
That's exactly right.
Solve the first damn problem first.
Yes.
And then you can fix what happened. You can fix the sum of the first problem.
Yes.
So I understand it. That tells me everything. It just tells me everything about how this place is ran, man.
Yeah,
I mean, and it's just a stark, direct contrast to common sense.
Yeah, it is.
Because 1 + 1 = 2. Q. It ain't never been different.
Never been different.
So and you can't get to C without having A and B, right? No. So you got problem A, you begot problem B, and now you trying to fix A and B with some. But hard, sharp turn for C. That's but you know the point. These people get paid to make decisions.
This is the part that really got to have me giggling about it and have me just like looking at people like who paid you to do this? Because the only reason why the unemployment stuff was as lucrative as it was because too many of the other people got caught up in it, right? It wasn't just the po folk. It wasn't just the black folk. It wasn't just the brown folk. It was some of the other folk who got caught up in it. So you had to make it a little bit more lucrative for them other people. So the ones who weren't supposed to get the benefits got them anyway, right? Now it's a problem. Now to me, it's funny. I'm just saying, to me, I think it's hilarious.
The first paycheck protection went out the first time.
Yeah.
And the Lakers and Ruth Chris and all these other places they got over. Yeah. They had to be shamed into giving the money back. They wasn't getting threatened by the government, by politicians to be cut off. Oh, yeah. They didn't even get so much as they wrist slapped and returned the money. They returned it because it was public outcry, public backlash. Okay? So now you weren't about $300. You went about $300 for a person that just was barely getting by with the salary.
You want that person? You want to cut
minimum wage hadn't increased in almost 15 years. Are you?
But you want to cut that person off who's making $300 on unemployment to come back to work to make $260. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or $255 or whatever the case may be. You know, to me, it don't make no sense. And I think they painted themselves
you know what it is,
into a corner.
It's pettiness. Is they call them grifters. Yeah. Grifters. and Lil Dick energy, man.
Yeah.
Anytime, I'm sorry, I know this is what Pressure Pointz is about.
This is what we
anytime
do.
You can instantly tell Lil Dick energy fella when you meet him, man. It's obvious.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it ain't even just overcompensating. You know, it's so much overly on everything, and if something don't go their way, they complain.
Yep.
They go get the paperwork. They look at bylaws. They look at the law, what it was, and the amendments and the sanctions and 1BF. And you know, that's Lil Dick energy.
You got to go all the way to it.
Because at no time for a man, for a man or a grown man, there is no time that you don't just decide on one of the many things that go on in your life to cut your losses and just roll.
You know? and I think for the most part, at the end of the day, you know, it didn't really matter. Most people just wanted to take care of their families. Like in a year of uncertainty, nobody knew nothing about nothing. Like, and I don't know why people don't want to admit that. Like, we're in a global pandemic, man. We never did this before. Like, we don't know. You don't know. That person don't know who. We going to Fauci. Like, he supposed to know. Was he there last time they had a pandemic? I don't know.
No.
Right? I don't know. No. Why we listening to him?
There's so many holes and inconsistencies in this COVID-19 thing. You can wear a mask. You can do this. It was 3 feet, 6 feet, 10 feet. You know? Mask. The weather's going to change. Poof, power is going to be gone. It's a money grab. It's a political scheme. Yeah. It's the this and that and the third. It's certain people affect this demographic. Right. So I ain't never known of. I can't think of one virus, not one in my short time on the planet that affected just black folks.
Right. You know,
that's like, oh, it's just this disproportionately affected black folks. But in the beginning of the whole thing, it couldn't affect black people because we had melanin. So right. Like so many things. I'm just silly shit like that is enough for me.
It's nuts, man. It's crazy. But the labor thing trips me out though, because I feel like this has got to be one of the times where the government going to have to nut up or shut up. They're going to have to. There's no backdoor, no sneaky talking your way out of this one. You're going to have to do it. I mean, because this is the issue that I got. And I think, if everybody, they think people were pissed off on some other stuff about their guns and Trump and all that. Look, they flipped the switch on South Carolina, last week? Cut them off?
Right.
Cut them off?
Right. So, no, the end is June 30th.
So how can you flip the switch that easily on taking somebody's money away? But you can't flip the switch and tell McDonald's Corp and people who own Wendy's and the folks who own Autobell and all these people to raise their, like, make them pay people more. It's easy as you.
Right. Q, I think you hit it on the head because that's what. And so here's my thing. All the policies they get made by politicians, I ain't going to say which kind because this is not that show. This is not Glenn Beck or Hannity or whatever the hell's they name. This is not Don Lemon, none of that. This is us. Yeah. So I'll say this. So it looked like all the policies they get made is counter to working person. Yeah. It's counter to working person because if you or counter the people, because if it was about the people that supposedly elect these folks, if it was about the people, you would do the very thing that you said. Make them raise the wages.
Make them do it.
This job it need to be paid X, Y, Z.
You're making other people do other things. Why you can't make these people do that thing? I don't understand.
It's more people than businesses.
Right.
So you make a strong point. But like I said, it's so far left of common sense. Yeah. It's so much the stark like contrast to common sense. Yeah. That's what these people do. And they supposedly went to these and been career politicians, not just five. They ain't serving no first and second terms. These are 8th, 9th term people. So that tells me that there's some effort there for you to be the way that you are. Yeah. I don't know if that's creating a money stream for you, but
but I just think disenfranchising that many people, it just, I don't know. To me, it feels wrong. It feels wrong. And then the slick hole, I got an email today, and I don't even collect unemployment no more, but I got an email from the DES today talking about what from after this day, I think he said June 1st or whatever, you're going to have to report your job searches or whatever. I'm like, dude, I'm back at work. What are you talking about? Like, but that's still stupid, right? But hey, whatever, man. Like, it is like, what is that going to prove that they're lazy? Because you know how folks are. Lazy people will find a way to be lazy now, you know what I mean?
Here's another thing. They always talking about C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, H, right? Let's talk about what happened to get here. Right. Tyrone and Alicia wasn't at the Capitol building passing these legislations about what need to be happen. Yeah. What need to happen. The politicians did. It took both parties to produce these stimuluses that came out and all the wording and the stimulus bill.
Yes.
You be mad at them.
Yes.
You need to talk about them.
It is,
you know what I'm saying?
It is so
Tyrone
weird.
Can't do nothing but do what he's supposed to do.
Do what he's supposed to do. But they kind of go. They're going back on.
That stuff is just retarded.
I still believe. I still believe in this.
A whisper of racism. It's just bad, man. Because when they think about that. When they think about unemployment, when they thinking about welfare, when they thinking about, you're living off the government, when you use words like lazy, when you use these words, I know who you feel like. I feel like I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
But the numbers suggest that it ain't even black people.
It's not.
It ain't making it hard for black people no matter what. If it's free. Remember the cheese lines? Remember the government cheese lines?
Absolutely.
Remember how long them damn lines was? And when they decided to do that was always in extreme weather. It was never when it was 72 and sunny.
Nope.
It was either cold as hell or it was hot as hell.
Right, yeah.
And it was free. And it was just cheese, but they made that hard.
Yeah, they made it super hard. And I'm going to tell you though, man, the more I think about it, I'm telling you, bro, to me, this was a mistake that they retracted and backpedaling on it. This whole government assistance, I'm telling you, it was to help their middle class homeboys, and they didn't really want it to trickle down the way it did. And I'm telling you, they messed up, and they like, we didn't really, and they're talking about somebody who want to go back to work. They're the ones who ain't going back because they used to making a certain amount of money, and they ain't gonna be able to make that. So them the ones who ain't going back to work. While you're worrying about the little dude that run the fries at Burger King, you need to worry about the dude that, them other cats. Them the ones who need to be worried about, because they ain't going back to work.
They was worrying about all this, people flipping that money, people flipping, they had,
so yeah, if people are lazy and people
guys do the thing with the stock market, they all mad, all the old people that have been getting fat forever got mad at the common man. They still mad. So now they want to strip resources. They want to put you back in your place.
Yeah.
So to speak. You go back to making us rich.
They'll let you know.
I think the world has absolutely changed, Q. I think it'll never be the same.
Oh, it won't. But that right there absolutely proves my point that this money wasn't really for who they said it was for, because you were absolutely right. That's exactly what happened, because they wouldn't have said it if it wasn't happening. You give free money to certain people, and they invested it into the stock market in the middle of a pandemic while everybody else just trying to keep their lights on or trying to keep them getting kicked out, get their rent paid. But you buying GameStop and AMC and all that. Like what are we talking about here, right? Y'all crazy. That's what it is, right? And those are the ones who are not going back to work. Those guys. They're not going back to work because there's not enough money at those jobs right now to pay those guys, and those guys are not going to accept anything. No. They're not going to do it.
No. So, they're not going back. They're not going back to work for you. So too much time has passed. People being at home to even just reflect on how they was being exploited at these low-paying jobs, and they ask for a lot and don't give nothing.
That's right.
Ask from a lot of you and don't give nothing.
Absolutely.
The working remotely situation is going to be forever part of business now because it works. It works. You don't have to pay. You don't have to worry about certain things.
Yeah.
Your liability of something happening, workman's comp, that's gone, because if you trip on a toy at home because that's on you. That's you. And you can't even you have to pay like out of pocket for that because that happened to you at home.
That's right.
So it's the benefit. The smart business people gotta understand that. I don't have to have if I don't have to have certain people here in the building, that's less I have to worry about.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, and we're going to see more of that. You're just going to see it. You know what I mean? But, I think that this whole thing is hilarious, and I can't wait to see how the government get themselves out of this, because to me, it seems like there's only one possible way to do it. You're going to have to pay folk. You're going to have to do it. You're just going to have to. And we'll see. Maybe they'll find some kind of way to kind of weasel out of it, but we'll see. You know what I mean? We'll see. Now,
but I just think that by them saying that and this is ridiculous, or it's actually not surprising to me, because they think that's the source of the work shortage.
Yeah.
People just had time to think about
it. They did.
If you had a chance think about this. If you always work a double shift just to make ends meet and you ain't have a chance to spend with your children, school was out, your job was shut down, you had time to reconnect, you had time to have a new foundation and find a new motivation. Like if you spent more time, you couldn't go nowhere else. You had to spend time with your people. You became more in love with your family members, or you hated them a hell of a lot more because you was with them.
Either way, your mindset changes.
Epiphanies. There's been a lot of a lot of light bulbs has gone off.
Absolutely.
And some people, and all you had was just some money in the internet and your family.
That's right.
And you put them three things together, people found ways.
They did.
People aren't dumb.
People
aren't dumb as they like to believe.
People found ways to do it. I'm telling you, that's why they said, Chuck is in there running the Steak and Shake by himself, man, and he want me to have pity on him. I ain't gonna have pity on you, but I'm just gonna continue to sit in the parking lot on my app, ordering the food, watching you sweat, because it's the people that you put in power that got us here. That's the reason why you ran off all the jobs. People were happy to do those jobs, but you want to ship everything overseas and all, like, whatever. It is what it is. It's on them to fix it, right? They can't, it's on them to fix it.
I had one guy say, "Man, it ain't my fault that you working at McDonald's. You should have went to this and that. You should have learned to trade." Yeah. Well, what's the difference now?
Right. You know what? At the end of the day,
I think that I just don't. I think most people. There are some people. There will be no going back. No, not in the numbers that they're thinking. I think you'll end up with some new people. The vacancies would kind of come down some because. But people will have to work. But at the same time, you're not going to get your old employees back.
Well, and they definitely ain't going to hire no young people, because young people, I'm telling you, if anybody learned anything from this pandemic situation, it's Gen Z people. It's these younger ones. They came out of it. Look, we didn't really learn much, but I'm telling you, I was listening to my daughter talk the other day, and I didn't never consider my daughter to be a genius in that like that. But I'm listening to some of the stuff she was saying, and I was like, okay, so that make a whole lot of sense. I don't know why I didn't think of that. You know what I mean? But these young ones, they're not going to the McDonald's. You ain't gonna be able to do that no more. So you gotta find another source, right? Okay. Right. We're gonna wrap the show up on this one. It's a little bit divisive. But not really. I mean, cause me personally, I'm not one of them kind of people who gonna go off and have a fit about certain things. I don't really, usually if things don't bother me directly, like if it don't mess with me, interfere with me or what I'm trying to do or my family, I could care less what people do. I really don't care about people. I really don't like being around people. I really don't like people, right? That's just my thing. Right? I don't really care what you're doing over there, right? And you making all that noise or whatever, you do it over there and I don't care. So what I'm getting at is, at least here, in North Carolina, they have, relaxed, actually the mask mandate has been lifted completely for fully vaccinated people, and Lord have mercy, you would think that we are on the precipice of like the rapture or something right now. Like the way people are acting, it is so crazy to me now. I get one thing, and I'm not one of the kind of people who's overly excited to participate. Like all the sporting events, I don't know if you saw for your team, but I know for my team, they already put the stuff out. Oh, games are going to be at 100% capacity, blah, blah, blah. Starting next month, a lot of musicians are starting to tour again. So people are getting ready to go back out. And the whole thing is, you can do this if you're fully vaccinated, but there is no, I'm going to give you the quote from David Tepper's letter to the fans. A word from it. It said, fully vaccinated people, the stadium will operate at full capacity, no mask requirement, and no vaccination requirement, right? So basically, they don't care. They're saying, whatever, right? And then there's other places, like the place that I work at, saying that you can come in or whatever and do whatever you do normally without a mask as long as you're vaccinated, but ain't nobody checking to see if you're vaccinated or not. So that causes a rift. Some people feel a certain way, some people feel this way. I'm just going to be upfront. Me and my family, we went in and got vaccinated, and we did it for our own reasons, right? One of the main reasons why we decided to do it is because, number one, of me and my health, right? So, my health, like over the last couple of years, I had a couple, hospital situations or whatever. So I felt it was necessary for that. Secondly, my wife's parents are very old. They're elderly, right? Or whatever. So we wanted to be able, it's our job to check on them and take care of them. So we wanted to be around them without it being all sterile and having the mask on and all this weird stuff. So for us, that was a necessity. That's what we chose to do for what we were doing, right? Cause we knew we were going to be together like that. We knew that was the thing. It wasn't because of no political such and such. Cause I don't follow politicians. I haven't voted in 3 or 4 years. It's been a long time. I ain't voted in a while. And I didn't do it because of no kind of political thing. I did it because I wanted to be able to take care of my in-laws. That was it. And I wanted to make sure that I live a couple of days longer, with my issues or whatever. You know what I mean? So when people talk about whether they're vaccinated, to me, I don't care. It don't bother me. I don't, do whatever you want to do, right? I just did what I needed to do for me. And that's the thing. Like, why does it have to be a thing? Why do we got to make a big story about it? You know what I mean? I'll tell you, I'm not going to stand on top of no car with no flag saying, "Oh, I'm above everybody because I'm vaccinated," or you can't come near me because you're not. You're not. That's not. I don't care about that. I'm gonna keep on living my life the way I did before. I still wear my mask. I still wear it when I go out, even though technically I don't have to, but I do. I'm one of those guys, right? So that's me. Where you at with it?
First of all, kudos to you for going to, surprised they didn't do a big money grab on that vaccination.
I'm telling you, right?
I probably couldn't because
I don't think they could. Trust me, somebody upset about it. They missed a lot of money on that. Right. Somebody's mad about it.
But congratulations to you and the wife and the family for taking that step. I, on the other hand, and I'm not one of those people that just feeling like I'm, Superman, or I just don't have a whole big old issue of getting ill. I didn't knock on wood. I didn't get sick during this whole thing, and I worked all the way through it. And I've never had flu. I never took the flu shot. I'm not banking on that because I understand this is something completely different. I'm not that silly to think that since I didn't get flu, this is, sermon. No.
Right.
I knew some people actually personally that had COVID, some had, little to no effects. Some of them had brief adverse effects to it. Either way, just seeing both sides. Still, I'm in no rush. I'm not against it. I'm just in no rush. But at the same time, the common sense part playing it for me don't make me against it or for it. It just make me just kind of like look at it like, wow. First of all, if you're fully vaccinated, why are you worried about me not being vaccinated?
Right.
That should be the least that you're worried about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I should be more worried that I'm not vaccinated.
Yes.
If this is a preventative measure, which it is not, because they tell you that you still can get it, you just won't have the adverse effects. Right. But my thing is this. If you weren't about having adverse effects to anything, you didn't get it at all. Right. How are you going to worry about having an adverse? Now they talk about, mutations and variants of it, XYZ. I get that. But if the current vaccine doesn't prevent you from the regular COVID,
right,
what does a variant do? Just like flu shot. If the flu mutate, then your flu shot does absolutely nothing but curb your it doesn't give you the extreme effects of COVID if you had it. But if you never had it, you got a vaccine, then what are you doing?
Right, yeah.
And so that tells me people ain't even listening to their own self.
Right.
They listen to their own body. They just want their privileges back.
I think
they want to have a cookout. They want to hug you, but you ain't looking at the science of. I don't know. I'm not going to be one of those people that say, "Hey, it's nanotech or it's sterilize you or it's going to kill you in 10 years." I'm not one of those people.
Yeah,
I'm not one of those people at all. All I'm saying is this. Use your own brain. Listen to your body. I'm one of those people that I always had. I remember when I didn't, I ended up 12 days away from death because I had a ruptured appendix. I thought I could just live through that, proven not to be the thing to do. So I'm not sitting back ignorantly saying that since it's not XYZ politician situation or it was this and that or it came from these group of people, well, I'm not touching it. No. All I'm saying is I'm listening to me. The moment my body tells me, okay, now you're not the young bull you used to be, you might need to put an extra layer of protection on you, then I'll do so.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure
vaccinated asses ain't going around you vaccinated people. I might get you sick.
Right. But here's the thing. Like I think you hit the nail on the head. That's why I never get into it with people about this. Right. Everybody made their decisions based on knowing themselves. Right. Again, you my brother. You know firsthand what I went through. Right. So as soon as this, like that's what me and Brendan was mostly deathly scared of. Luckily for us, we never got it, right? You know, she worked at home the whole time. I was at home the whole time. She's still at home working. You know, we didn't go nowhere. We abided by the rules. We went to the grocery store once a week. That was pretty much all us going out. So that's all we really did. You know, fortunately, like I said, fortunately for me, you know, with the whole unemployment thing and all that stuff and me losing my job, it didn't force me out. It didn't make me have to go out. Like, I was good, right? You know what I mean? So, you know, when the vaccine came about, we had a conversation about it. And, you know, and mostly it was two things. And I talk about that at the beginning when I first started talking about the vaccine. It was mostly because my health is not the greatest, right? And people who know me know that, right? And secondly, you know, her parents are really, really old. And again, since we're the ones who go over there taking care of them, we didn't want to be the ones, like, really, that's the worst thing. Like, it's okay for you to get me sick, right? You know, cause we brothers or whatever, but you don't want to get mama sick. You know, you don't want to be the reason that she ended up dying. You know what I mean? Like, and if you go take a measure, why not? Right? It's free. It's a vaccine. You know what I mean?
My thing is this, you know, here's the thing too. Now, granted, there were, it was put out there. Well, I guess I probably know a few people that was asymptomatic, but you still knew that something was wrong. Yeah. Because the smell and taste situation. Right. So if you experiencing that, why still be out there? Right. So it ain't like you just, I just got COVID and I'm just giving it to people and I don't even know. It don't work. It doesn't work. It never worked that way, but that's what they put out there. That the asymptomatic people will find that you may not been in a bed oohing and on, but you knew something. You knew that, you know, you was ill with something. Right. But, you know, there's always... They miss me with that. And so if we... Hold on. I'm just speaking... I'm not against or for it. I'm just speaking to the common sense part. Mm-hmm. So if there is a fact that you could be unvaccinated and be asymptomatic, then what the hell were you taking my temperature for all summer? Last summer. You know? I'm not... If I'm asymptomatic, I'm not going to have a fever. Right. What are you looking for? A person that's sick with a fever are not in the grocery store. Right. Yeah, right. I mean, you're right. You see. So I'm just saying, like, the critical thinking and most, granted, the TV and radio and the calcified pineal gland and the food, and your sodium high, your blood pressure high, and they got you worrying about taking unemployment or work shortages, gas shortages, toilet paper shortages. You know, all that. To use your mind. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, and that stuff just go right by you. It does, you know, and the whole thing is like one of the reasons why I was hesitant in the beginning. It was one of the reasons that I've heard other people say. Was like, bro, it's like, you know, you had them shoot you with something, and basically it ain't make you proof. It didn't make you COVID proof. So why did you do it, right? And I'm like, well, you got a point. I mean, I'm not COVID proof. You know what I mean? But me, and here's how I know that this is what's really going on, because me and Vernie, my wife, we did our shots around the same time, about a day or so apart. I think we went in. I got my first one done 2 days before she got her first one. I think. We got our second ones a day apart. I got mine and then she got hers the next day. Here's the thing. Nothing happened to me. I didn't have to work, you know, for the next couple of days, so I didn't have to worry about going to work, so I wasn't really worried about it. But I was fine. I did, you know, everything was cool. She, on the other hand, was pretty much out of commission for like 2 days. She was pretty much done. You know what I mean? Right. And so that's how you know. That's how you know. Cause her immune system was ready for whatever they shot into her. And that's why she was sick for 2 days. My immune system was like, what is this? Like, you know, come on and help me out a little bit. And that's how I know. That's how I know that whatever they put in us is actually working, because the ones who have strong immune systems, they get sick. And the ones who have weak ones like me, they don't feel nothing, you know? Right. That's how I know, you know? Right. So, but to wrap it up, Q, I'll say this to the folks out there: if whether you one of those ones that want your lifestyle back, whether you one of those people who just looking out for the people around you, man, do what's best for you. Do what your intuition is telling you. Absolutely. Do what's best for yourself and others, man. Most importantly, and don't put pressure on nobody else to follow you. You make the decision for yourself. And let the other people, I mean, and if people like me and others and you or people who did or didn't make a mistake, then that'll be just something that you gotta live with. That's right. But it ain't up to, public opinion or you get shamed into doing something that you didn't want to do in the first place. That's why we got so many people in jail right now. Absolutely. But the thing that I want to make clear before we want to wrap this up, I don't get the argument. I don't understand why people got to feel like they have to
bump heads about this. Like, dude, like, again, me and this guy, we're brothers, right? We know, that's my, like, I'm not going to not like deal with him because, he didn't go get vaccinated. You know what I'm saying? And he ain't going to be like, oh, well, I better stay with him because he's going to turn into a gremlin in 2 weeks. That's not the thing. Like, do your own thing. I respect him for doing what he did. And I'm pretty sure it's mutual, right? I mean, you understood the reasons why I done it, right? Right. But we're not going. I'm not going to fight about it. So like when people ask me about
it's not that big of a deal. If you feeling 100%, just to give you a few more, I get to have you for a few more days, bro. I'm all for it.
You know what I mean?
I'm all for it.
And that's all it's really about.
You feel like this is going to help you stick around,
right?
For me,
and who knows,
fam. Man, I'm glad you did.
Who knows? The blood pressure still might take me. It ain't got nothing to do with COVID.
I'm just saying, though. I mean, this is another layer of not having to worry about it.
Right. You know what I mean? So I mean, it could have been off in that. Who knows, right? We don't know. Right. And that's the whole thing. We don't know. Right. It's just that, I saw an opportunity to protect me and my family and to be able to still be of help to my in-laws, right? And, and it took a little bit of a risk factor away. Was it 100% risk factor? Was it real? Or was it just them, me thinking that because I got a shot? I don't know, but I felt better about it, right? You know what I mean?
Well, good.
And then just like you had said before, those ones who are, cause I know people, cause they told me straight up before I even got my shot that they were doing it because they wanted to go out and do stuff this summer, and they knew that the government was going to have people showing their vaccination cards, so they was going to go get their shot. For those people, I pray for people like that. You know what I mean? And on the other side,
a lot more of those type than you think, bro.
Oh no,
I'm pretty more of those type than you think.
My eyes got open when that person told me that.
If the news is broadcasting, you want to have a barbecue, you want to hug your family, this and that and the third,
right?
When nobody never told you that you couldn't in the first place.
Yeah.
They just said that you should socially distance when you're in public.
That's right.
They never told you couldn't go see your family.
That's right.
They suggested that you didn't but they never said that you couldn't.
Right.
For you to justify going to get a vaccine just because you wanted to go do what the hell you want to do, you are part of the problem.
Right. But that's what, that person told me that and I was shocked, but I was like, you know what? I can't be mad because you know what? If anything, they know exactly what they're trying to do. Look, I'm going to concerts. I'm going to do it. Like and I know I need to get the shot to do it. I don't care about what whether it's this or that. Only thing I care about is that I can go to the thing that I want to go to. Right. And in those people, I'm just saying it's weird to me. Like, but that's the thing. You had said it. The ones who want to have the cookouts and all that stuff this summer, they want to do it. And also for the whole thing with the businesses wanting to rush everybody to open back up because everybody got tired of losing money. So they wanted people to get I see all these incentives for getting the vaccine. And they were giving away free donuts or some crap the other day.
Right. $250 sign-on bonus, all this. But I'll say this because I got to go because my little one is.
Okay.
But I'll say this before we go. All these things that people are doing to get back to normal or the old way, if that's what you're hoping for, you already lost.
Already.
Because that is never going to happen again.
Absolutely
This is another 9/11 style situation.
Yeah.
And it reshaped everything. It reshaped the financial landscape. It reshaped the social landscape for sure. That's been fractured.
Absolutely.
It's been pretty much scorched earth. It's going to take a long time for people to be socially the same. It's going to take a while. It was a year. We said we got set back socially a year. It's going to take twice as, maybe 3 times as long for people to become somewhat sociable again. Because it's just different. Everybody has learned to entertain themselves in different ways.
Absolutely.
Everybody has learned to deal with that demon that bothered them in silence. They okay now.
Yeah.
Some of them did. Some of us didn't make it. Some of us cracked. Some of us finally got trapped off by that.
Because some people didn't need to be by themselves like that. You know what I mean? But I will say this, man. I think I like this. This is our first episode. It got fiery. It got controversial. It got hot. But this is Pressure Pointz, man. Me and JB, this is what we're gonna try to bring. We talked about a lot of hot stuff. I know the comments gonna be crazy. The comments gonna be crazy. But it is what it is, JB. I appreciate your honesty, man. I do. You know what I mean?
Sure, man. But this is just the first show.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
This is just the first show.
Yeah. So if you guys like what y'all saw right here, man, again, you can follow me at Bigg Qsworld on Twitter. I got some hot takes, man. But again, I usually don't share my my thoughts and stuff like this on social media. You got to download the podcast in order to hear me get busy. You know what I'm saying? You got to download the podcast, bro. But with that being said, JB, unless you got something to add, man, I think we're gonna wrap this one up.
Oh man, that's it. Just again, man, just as this is in no shape or form something that you can take to the bank. I recommend you do your own research, and it's just my opinion, man.
Yep.
Just don't come at me. Go at you.
Hey, look, I can handle it. You know what I'm saying? I can handle it. Again, for people watching the live, I just put the stream out on my personal Facebook. If you guys want to, this will be up on the YouTube channel somewhere. And on Facebook, Bigg Q's World, Facebook/Bigg Q's World. It'll be there too. If you guys appreciate the content, let us know. Otherwise, it'll catch the audio podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, all the usuals. JB, it's been a pleasure.
Man, heck yeah. I love it. Thank you.
All right, man. We out of here. Y'all take it easy. Peace. Holla if you hear me. 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 Holla if you hear me.